My name is Phil Icard. I'm the pharmacist at People's Drugstore. I've owned this business since 1984. People's Drugstore was opened in 1918, and we always brag that when we opened up, our phone number is number 11. We were the 11th location in our county to have a telephone. We're the first business to have air conditioning. So we feel like we've always been a kind of a trailblazer and first in our county, and we feel like that's a tribute to our longevity here. In 1972, I was a pharmacy student, and I walked in one Saturday night and met Mr. Campbell's son, Mr. Rowe Campbell Jr., and told him that I was in pharmacy school and I'd like to have a job. And he said, well, we really don't need anybody, but we're remodeling this summer, and I need somebody that can lift a lot of boxes, and you look like you can lift some boxes. So from there, it was just a great relationship.
I'm Johnny Bruce. I'm from Hidnight, North Carolina, thriving metropolis in Alexander County. We're very rural. We only have one, quote, big city, and that be the town of Taylorsville, of which we're in here today. And it was pretty much farming country. I'm 70 years old, and I grew up going to People's Drug. Oddly enough, my very first memory, I think I was 6 years old, 6 or 7. Mr. Campbell, the original owner, gave me a basketball, and that was my first experience with a basketball. So it wasn't about the drug part, prescriptions. I didn't know what that was, I'm sure, but I knew what a basketball was, and oddly enough, went on to coach basketball here in Alexander County.
I think it's just part of his nature. He just felt like that this was his community, and he adopted it during the Depression. I've heard the stories of how he took care of people, and he didn't take a salary for about 6 months because people were just needing their medicine. He just couldn't tell them no. He was just a very generous human being. One of my favorite stories about him is he did not drive a car. We was the telegraph office for the county, and during the two world wars, if he got a telegraph that a person was injured or killed, he would get a taxi and personally to deliver those telegrams to the family members. And I think he kind of set the bar for us how we take care of people. When you open a drugstore, you need to be the only pharmacy anybody ever needs. You need to be able to provide anything that they need at that moment. Back in those days, we stayed open until midnight. So he opened at 8 o'clock in the morning and stayed till midnight. He went 38 years without closing a single day. That was Christmas and Thanksgiving. He was there for his customers and his patients.
I'm Dave Basler, a resident of Taylorsville for about 20 years. Before that, we lived in Memphis, Tennessee. Before that, we lived up north. Well, the first Christmas we were here, our granddaughter was visiting from Chicago, and she had a bad sore throat, so we took her over to the hospital, and they diagnosed her with strep throat and said she needed a prescription. And I said, well, we'll never find a prescription on Christmas Day. I said, yeah, Phil Icard's coming in, he'll fill prescriptions for you. And that's how we met Phil, and we've been here ever since.
We celebrated our 90th year because we thought that was really big, and we thought that was, we're going to try something, see how the community liked it. So we did a 90-year celebration, and we had a birthday party for all of our customers that were 90 years old or older. When we started going through our list, we found out we had 28 patients that were over the age of 90. So we invited them to a birthday party. We had each of them a birthday cake made and presented to them that day. And the most amazing thing about that day was that probably over half of them drove themselves to the celebration. It was just a fantastic day. And we thought, if the 90 is this good, what can we do for 100? I found some things that kind of tweaked my interest and thought, maybe we can maybe pull this off. So we started the key point of our celebration was we're going to give away a new car. So we thought we're going to let all of our customers, when they come get a prescription filled that year, register for a car.
I'm Scott Ferguson, won the big car right here at People's Drugstore. Jefferson told me, go put your name in there. Put your name in the ticket.
Mr. Campbell's great grandson was here that day. So he was the one who pulled the entry from the bin. And we probably had over 100,000 entries into the bin, and he pulled his name out. Some things are just meant to be. This gentleman has never owned a car that cost more than $2,500. He didn't have a car to get up here that day. Someone had to drive him up here to pick up his new car. He's the one who should have won it, and he won it, and he's done very well serving the community and showing people he's appreciative of the gift that he was given.
Phil has really made a big impression on the whole community. He's very involved in community service and community activities. The 100th anniversary last year was a big deal.
So we had a T-shirt made depicting our county and the features of our county, and also had a puzzle made. So we sold puzzles and we sold T-shirts all year. At the end of the year, we made a presentation to the town of Taylorsville for $5,000 for a beautification project. And we did a scholarship of $2,500 to our local student. We're going to do that every year, just to keep let people know that these people are very important to our community and we'll keep the legacy going. Technology is great, and I think that, when we went with QS1 in 1986, when we got our first computer, I mean, we went cold turkey. We went from a manual typewriter to a computer. We didn't even have an electric typewriter. We went to a manual to a computer. We first got our first modem, and the fact that we could dial up and dial into the insurance companies and had to listen to that sound all day long would drive you crazy. It's a lot different. I realize that. And, I think we just have to find new ways to reinvent ourselves. I wish I had another 20 years of my career, because I see these young pharmacy students and the things they've been equipped with. Pharmacy is going to evolve. We're going to be, it's going to be changing how we practice our profession. And I think these young people have got some great ideas, because I feed off of the young pharmacy staff that I have, telling me we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that.
I have told people, there's a big box down the street, and I say, if you want personal care, you need to be going to People's and talking to Phil. And it is so personable, because we know the people here. We don't just talk about the pharmacy, we talk about the people that are here.
The personal touch that Phil and his entire staff put into what they do here, I think, is the biggest characteristic of the store. It's not the building, it's the people.
First thing Mr. Campbell told me the first day I ever worked for him, that you'll never be able to be a pharmacist until you know a patient's name. So I take great pride when you walk in here. I want to know where you're from. You didn't grow up in our county. Where do you work? What's your interest? And developing a relationship where you feel comfortable telling me anything you want to tell me, and I want that kind of relationship. And I think that's still old school.